You're eating smaller portions, you're skipping snacks, maybe you've even cut out some of your favorite foods, but every morning you step on the scale and nothing seems to change. So what's going on? If you're eating less, shouldn't you automatically be losing weight? Well, not always in the way you expect, because when it comes to weight loss, how much food you think you're eating is only part of the story. Calories can hide in places you barely notice. Your daily movement can change without you realizing it. Water weight can completely mess with what you see on the scale. And things like sleep, stress, and certain health conditions can make the process even more complicated. So if you feel like you're eating less but still can't lose weight, don't assume that nothing is happening. Today, we're going to break down some of the biggest reasons this happens and what you can actually do about them. Let's start with one of the most common reasons. Part 1. Eating less doesn't always mean eating fewer calories. Here's a simple example. Imagine your normal lunch is a huge plate of food. Then you decide to lose weight, so you replace it with something much smaller. Maybe a salad with dressing, cheese, avocado, nuts, and a little olive oil. It looks healthier, it looks smaller. But depending on how much you use, that meal can still contain a significant number of calories. And that's the first thing to understand. Food volume and calorie content are not the same thing. Some foods contain a lot of calories in a relatively small amount. Nuts are nutritious. Peanut butter can be nutritious. Avocados are nutritious. Olive oil can absolutely be part of a healthy diet. But they're also calorie-dense, and this is where people sometimes get confused. A food doesn't become low-calorie just because it's considered healthy. You could eat smaller meals and still consume roughly the same number of calories as before. And sometimes the calories aren't even coming from your meals, they're coming from everything around them. Which brings us to the next problem. Part 2. The calories you forget about. Think about everything you consume throughout a normal day, not just breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What about the creamer in your coffee, the handful of nuts while you're working, the dressing on your salad, the cooking oil in the pan, the soda or sweet tea with lunch, the little snack you grabbed in the afternoon, the few bites you took while making dinner? Individually, these may not seem like much, but together they can add up, and liquids are especially easy to overlook. A sugary coffee drink, soda, juice, sports drink, or alcoholic beverage can add calories without making you feel nearly as full as a solid meal might. So someone may genuinely feel, I'm barely eating anything. And from their perspective, that may be true. Their meals really are smaller, but their total calorie intake across the entire day may not have dropped as much as they think. That doesn't mean you need to obsess over every calorie for the rest of your life. But if your weight hasn't changed for several weeks, paying closer attention to portions, drinks, sauces, oils, and snacks for a short period can reveal a lot. And there's another side to this equation that gets much less attention. Part 3. You may be moving less without realizing it. When people think about burning calories, they usually think about exercise, running, lifting weights, cycling, going to the gym. But your body also uses energy through all the little movements you make throughout the day. Walking around the house, taking the stairs, standing, doing chores, walking through a store, even simply getting up from your desk more often. When you reduce your food intake, especially if you make a very aggressive change, you may feel more tired. And without realizing it, you may start moving less. Maybe you sit on the couch instead of taking a walk. Maybe you're less energetic at work. Maybe you skip a workout because you're exhausted. These small changes can reduce how much energy you burn during the day. Your body can also adapt somewhat to weight loss over time, meaning your energy needs may decrease as you become lighter. But this doesn't mean your metabolism has magically shut down, and it doesn't mean eating too little makes weight loss physically impossible. It simply means the calorie equation can change as your body weight and behavior change. That's one reason extremely restrictive diets can be so difficult to maintain. You're hungry, you're tired, you're thinking about food constantly, and eventually, you may eat back much of what you tried so hard to cut. A more moderate approach is often much easier to sustain. Part 4. The scale doesn't only measure fat. This one is incredibly important. You step on the scale Monday morning, then again on Tuesday, and somehow you're 2 pounds heavier. Did you gain 2 pounds of body fat overnight? Probably not. Your body weight includes much more than fat. It includes water, food in your digestive system, muscle, glycogen, the carbohydrates stored in your muscles and liver. And all of these things can affect the number you see on the scale. Eat a salty meal. You may temporarily retain more water. Eat more carbohydrates than usual. Your body may store more glycogen along with additional water. Start a new workout program. Changes related to exercise and recovery can temporarily affect your weight. Even the amount of food still moving through your digestive system matters. That's why judging your progress from one weigh-in can be misleading. Instead, look at the trend. If you choose to weigh yourself regularly, try doing it under similar conditions. For example, in the morning after using the bathroom and before eating. Then look at your average over time, because fat loss can be happening even when today's number doesn't look impressive. Part 5. Your food choices can make the process much harder. Technically, weight loss ultimately requires consuming less energy than your body uses over time. But that doesn't mean every diet feels the same. Imagine trying to stay satisfied on a diet filled with foods that are easy to overeat and don't keep you full for very long. You're probably going to be hungry a lot. Now compare that with meals containing a good source of protein, high-fiber foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other filling foods. For many people, those meals make controlling total intake much easier. Protein is particularly useful because it helps support muscle and tends to be filling. Fiber can also help with fullness, and foods with a lot of volume for relatively fewer calories, like many fruits and vegetables, can allow you to eat a satisfying amount of food without consuming an enormous number of calories. So instead of asking, how little can I eat? A better question might be, how can I build meals that keep me satisfied while still supporting my goal? That's a much more sustainable way to think about weight loss. Part 6. You're expecting results too quickly. This might be the most frustrating part. You've been eating better for 5 days. You exercised 3 times, you skipped dessert, and then you step on the scale expecting a dramatic change. Nothing. So you think, this isn't working. But 5 days tells you very little. Real weight loss isn't usually a perfectly straight line. You might lose weight one week, stay the same the next, see the scale go up temporarily, and then watch it drop again. That's why patience matters. You don't need a dramatic transformation every week. You need a pattern you can actually maintain for months, because losing weight quickly and immediately regaining it isn't particularly helpful. The goal should be progress you can maintain. Part 7. Sleep may matter more than you think. Now imagine 2 versions of yourself. The first gets a solid night's sleep. You wake up feeling refreshed. You have energy. Your appetite feels manageable. Now imagine you've slept 4 or 5 hours. You're exhausted. You want caffeine. You want something sweet. Working out sounds terrible. And sitting on the couch sounds amazing. That's why sleep can affect weight management in several ways. Poor sleep can influence hunger and appetite. It can make highly rewarding foods harder to resist. And when you're exhausted, staying physically active becomes harder too. So if you're trying to improve your diet while consistently sleeping 5 hours a night, you may be making the process much harder than it needs to be. For most adults, getting enough consistent, high-quality sleep should be part of the plan, not an afterthought. Part 8. Stress can make consistency harder. You've probably experienced this. You have a terrible day, you're stressed, you're frustrated, and suddenly, that bag of chips looks a lot more appealing. Stress doesn't magically create body fat out of nowhere, but chronic stress can affect your behaviors. Some people eat more when they're stressed, some snack more frequently, some sleep poorly, some stop exercising, and sometimes we're barely aware we're doing it. That's why successful weight management isn't only about knowing which foods contain fewer calories. It's also about creating routines you can maintain when life gets messy, because eventually, life will get messy. Part 9. Weekends can erase more progress than you think. Monday through Friday, you're incredibly disciplined. Breakfast is controlled, lunch is healthy, dinner is reasonable. Then Friday night arrives, restaurant meal, Saturday brunch, a couple of drinks, snacks during the game, dessert after dinner. Sunday comes around and you think, I'll start again tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your weekend. But here's the problem. Your body doesn't reset its calorie balance every Monday morning. What matters is the overall pattern. So if you're eating slightly below your needs during the week, but significantly above them during the weekend, those extra calories can reduce or even eliminate the deficit you created. You don't need to make weekends miserable, you simply need to recognize that they count too. Part 10. Sometimes there may be more going on. Most weight loss plateaus have relatively ordinary explanations, but not every situation is identical. Certain medications can affect appetite or body weight, and some medical conditions can make weight management more difficult. So if you've made consistent changes over a meaningful period of time and you're still concerned about your weight, especially if you're experiencing other unexplained symptoms, it's worth talking with a qualified healthcare professional. They can look at your individual situation in a way a YouTube video simply can't. So, what should you actually do? If you're eating less but not seeing the progress you expected, don't immediately respond by starving yourself. Instead, take a closer look at the entire picture. Pay attention to portions. Don't forget drinks, sauces, oils, and snacks. Build meals around filling, nutritious foods. Get enough protein and fiber. Stay active throughout the day, not only during workouts. Try to get consistent sleep. And most importantly, give it time. Don't judge your progress based on what happened between Monday and Wednesday. Look at the trend over several weeks, because successful weight loss usually isn't about finding one secret food, one miracle workout, or one metabolism hack. It's about creating a calorie deficit you can actually maintain while still giving your body the nutrition it needs. And if your current approach leaves you exhausted, starving, and miserable every single day, it's probably not an approach you're going to follow for very long. The best plan isn't necessarily the most extreme one, it's the one you can actually stick with. So if you've been saying, "I'm eating less, why am I still not losing weight?" Don't just eat even less. Look at the whole picture: your food, your drinks, your portions, your activity, your sleep, your consistency, and your progress over time. And now I want to hear from you. What's been the hardest part of losing weight for you? Is it controlling portions, staying consistent, late night snacking, or feeling like you're doing everything right but the scale still won't move? Let me know in the comments. And if this video helped you understand your body a little better, give it a like and subscribe for more simple, science-based videos about food, health, and your body. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.